In today's lecture, I'm going to continue with our inheritance program. Now, if you look at our first example, we just printed out the values or text found in our superclass and our subclass. Let's now create a program that allows us to submit or let's say insert data or values to our Java program. Let's now create a new Java class here. Let's give it a name, inheritance2. Okay, let me close the output window for a while and let's write our program. So in this program, we're going to create a superclass. Okay, and the superclass will, let's give it a name, class A. Right, so okay, so I think I already have here, let's say class X. Okay. So I have created here class X for my superclass. Let me have two variables I and then j. Then let's create a method that will display the values of I and j. To do that, let's call this as void show I and j. Okay. And then let's print out the values. I and j is, let's display the value of I plus, let's have some space, plus j. Okay, so this method here will just display the values of I and then j. Let's now create another class which will be our subclass. Let's call the class Y. Now for subclass Y, it will extends to our parent class, which is class X. We'll have a variable here for our class Y. Let's give it a name, say A. Okay, now let's display the value of A. Okay, void show A. Okay, okay, let's print out A is plus A there. After that, let's create another method here to compute for the sum. Okay, let's call this as void sum. Let's display now. The sum is the sum, let's say the sum of our I, j, and A there. Okay, and then let's compute I plus j plus A. Okay, we need to add plus here. That's it. Okay, so in our method void, we will be printing out the value of I, j, and then A here. So where I and j will be coming from our superclass, and then A here will be under the subclass Y. Okay, let's now go to our main class here, public static void main. Okay, let's now create an object. First thing is we're going to create an object for our superclass, in which case our superclass here, superclass is X. To do that, let's have your X object, let's call it super, is equals to new X. Okay. Then y subclass is equals to new y. Now we have created already two objects here. This will be for our superclass, and then this one here will be for our subclass. Now let's pass value to our superclass. We have here I and j. To do that, you just type here the object, which is super or sup. That now you have access to I. Let's give it a name, a value of 5, which is an integer. Sup that we have a value of j here is equals to 10. Okay. Then let's display the value, calling show I and j here. Sup that we have here show I and j. So the output that we're expecting is to display the values of 5 and then 10. Next is we're going to compute for the sum. But first, we need to access it. We need to supply data first for I, j, and then a here. Now, since we have here our subclass and our subclass inherits the variables found in our superclass here, we have access to the variables I and j. Let's assign a value. Sub.i is equals, let's say, 10. And then, let's put a semicolon here. Sub.j is equals to 15. And let's assign a value for our variable a. Sub.a is equals to 20. There. Now let's display sub dot. We also have access to our ij here. Sub dot show a for our subclass. And then take note, this is our we're accessing the superclass here. The method show ij, I and then j. This one here, we are accessing our subclass method show a. There. Now let's compute for the sum. So we need to access our subclass dot sum. Okay. Let's run our code. Let's run our code here. So here's the output. First thing is we created an object for our superclass and subclass. Then we assign a value of 5 and 10 to our variables I and j. So we have here I and j. Then we call for show I, which displays the value of I and j here. Okay. Here. I and j is 5 and 10. Next is we have this line here. We have assigned the value of 10 and 15 to I and j. And then a is equals to 20. Then we call show I and j here. Now the value instead of 5, 10 is now replaced with 10 and 15. Next, we call our subclass show a, subclass with our method show a here that displays the value of 20. And then we call for the sum, where the sum here computes for the values or sum of I is 10, j which is 15, and then a which is 20, and the sum here is 45. Okay, so here's another example of inheritance in Java. So I hope you like the video. Thank you for watching. Bye.